Welcome back to the channel, and in this video I'm going to do another deep dive. This is all the detail about vehicle balance, specifically in corners, and this will transform your cornering. You're going to get much more confidence in the corners. I'm going to make your car feel so much more stable and balanced and accurate and precise through the corners. So vehicle balance, what am I talking about? Well, in order to understand vehicle balance, the first thing you need to understand is the principles of weight transfer in a car. Now, weight transfer isn't a particularly complicated principle to get your head around, but quite a lot of people think about it in the wrong way. They sort of think about where the weight's going rather than where the weight's being removed from. So let me talk through weight transfer to start with. So weight transfer, what am I talking about? Right, well, let's start with physics. Very basic principle in physics that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So at the moment I'm driving this car along 40 miles an hour, steady speed. I'm not accelerating, I'm not decelerating, I'm not turning the wheel. But as soon as I do anything with the car's controls, as soon as I press the brakes, for example, the brakes apply, they slow the car down, and in reaction to that, the weight, the mass of the car is pushed forward. The car is trying to resist the braking effort. So the mass of the car is trying to push on, but the brakes are holding it back. When I accelerate, the car is driving itself forward, the engine's driving the car forward, but the weight of the car is resisting going forward with the engine. So the weight is going backwards. Now, it's a fairly straightforward principle to get your head around, and you feel it every time you drive the car. You can feel the weight moving around in the car because you are part of the car's weight, and you move around in reaction to that weight transfer. So, for example, coming up to this corner up here, when I press the brakes, my weight will go forward into the seatbelt, and I can feel my weight going forward. And then when I turn the wheel to the left, my weight goes to the right. It's a natural reaction to the motion of the car and the movement of the car. So that's weight transfer. But what's the relevance of weight transfer to the vehicle's balance when you're driving it along the road? Well, the next principle I want you to think about is the amount of grip that you've got available on each of the four tyres. So on each corner of this car is a tyre. It's in contact with the road. It's the only part of the car that's in contact with the road. And it's a really important component of the car. Not only does it support the car on the road, but it grips with the road surface. The compound of the tyre grips with the road surface. It deals with different weather conditions. Wet weather is dealt with by the grooves in the tyre and again the tyre compound. And the tyres both accelerate and slow the car under braking, and they grip for going around corners as well. Now, there's a direct relation between the weight of the car and how much weight is pushing that tyre into the road and the amount of grip that each of those tyres has got with the road surface. So I need to try this. I'm not going to do it because I'm driving at the moment, but put your hands together with very little pressure between them, and then just rub your hands, and you'll notice that they rub together quite easily. Then I want you to push your hands together and then try rubbing your hands. There's much more resistance, there's much more grip between the palms of your hands when you push them together quite hard. The same principle applies with cars. The weight pushing the tyre down into the road surface gives the car its grip and gives the tyre its grip with the road surface. That's why Formula racing cars and other racing cars have wings, inverted wings actually. It's the opposite of an aeroplane wing. Rather than creating lift, those wings are designed to push a lightweight racing car down into the road to create extra grip between the tyre and the track surface when it's going through corners. So we've got weight transfer and we've got the principles of tyre grip. If you combine those two, I want you to start thinking about what effect the weight transfer has on a tyre's grip with the road surface. So if I'm driving along and I apply the brakes, the weight goes forward. Now, most people then think, great, that's giving me more grip between the front tyres and the road surface. Yes, it is, but that's not the way to think about it. Don't think about where the grip and where the weight is going. Think about where you're removing it from. This is the really important bit to get your head around. Slowing down, braking, transfers the weight of the car forwards, gives you a little bit more grip between the front tyres and the road surface, but it removes weight from the rear axle, from the rear wheels. It lightens the rear of the car, and it reduces the amount of grip that you've got between your rear tyres and the road surface. Now you might think, well, okay, if I'm approaching a corner and I'm slowing down, and I'm slowing down into that corner, that's a good thing, isn't it? Because I'm transferring weight forward onto the front wheels. The front wheels are the wheels that steer the car. Surely that's exactly what we want, isn't it? No, it's not. Bear with me. The front wheels of a car turn the car. Obviously the front wheels turn when you turn the steering wheel. That points the car in the direction you want it to go. But we're not just steering the front wheels of the car around a corner, are we? We want the back wheels, the rear axle, to accurately follow the front wheels. Otherwise, I'd turn into this corner now, we'd point the car in the direction we want it to go, but the back end would just fly off. It would oversteer off into the embankment. So have you ever had a moment in a corner, and don't tell me you haven't, anybody who's been driving for more than 6 months will have gone into a corner a bit too quick, or will have driven into a corner that's tightened up on them. It's become tighter than they thought it was on approach. And what happens? Your natural reaction is to lift off the gas or press the brakes. And under those circumstances, what does the car do? Does it feel planted? It doesn't. It sort of does this little jiggle. I'm not talking about it sliding around or anything, but the rear of the car just becomes a little bit, it doesn't know where to go. The rear axle, the rear wheels are uncertain. They don't know where they want to go because you've lifted them up off the road surface. You've reduced the grip between the rear wheels and the road surface in the corner. So let's brake late into this corner here. I'll show you what I mean. So if I slow there and on the brakes, see the car doesn't feel that stable going into the corner and going through the corner. I've had to make several little adjustments to the car's line in the corner because the rear of the car wasn't comfortable. It wasn't settled into the road surface. So the solution to that, the solution to getting some security from the rear axle, to getting the rear wheels planted through a corner, is to have the gas applied right from the start of the corner, right from there on the gas. Not a lot, just a little bit at the start of the corner, and then as the corner develops and as the limit point moves away, and you can watch my other video on limit points, I'll put a link in the description below, but as the limit point moves away, you can then increase the amount of acceleration through the corner. And I'm going to give you 2 other good reasons as well why you should be on the gas through the corner. The first relates again to weight transfer. If I go into this corner on the brakes, the weight goes forward. I turn the wheel, the weight goes to the right. I get halfway around the corner and get on the gas, and the weight goes from the front to the rear. So that's 3 movements of the car's weight in one corner. Going on the brakes, the car's on the nose. Turn the wheel, the weight moves to the right or the left. Get on the gas halfway around the corner and the weight transfers rearwards. But if instead I go into a corner like this one, applying the gas right at the start of the corner and just turning the wheel, so we turn the wheel and press the gas at the same time, what we get is one single movement of the vehicle's weight. It makes one diagonal movement rearwards and to the left, or rearwards and to the right. Watch it on this corner at the top of this hill here. So as I approach the corner, get my speed right on approach, get my gear right on approach. When I turn the wheel, I'll press the gas at the same time, and the weight just transfers back and to the right. One movement of the vehicle's weight. One movement of the vehicle's weight is better than 3 movements in a corner. So there's your second reason. Third reason is if we're driving systematically, if we're applying the system of car control, there's 5 things that we do on approach to a corner. 4 of those are action phases. So we take the information about the corner, get our position right on approach, get our speed correct on approach. Then we get the gear, and then we accelerate. You'll notice there is not another speed phase between gear and accelerate. But if I drive along here now at a constant speed and I turn the steering wheel from side to side, the car is going to slow down. And that's because by turning the wheel I'm creating additional friction between the front wheels and the road surface. That's good, that's what turns the car, but at the same time, it slows the car down. And we don't want the car to slow down because we're driving systematically and we've already set the speed. We've used the limit point on approach to the corner to set our speed. I don't want to reduce my speed anymore, but if I only turn the wheel at the point where I turn the car into the corner, if I only turn the wheel, the car will slow down. And that's not what I want it to do. So, the solution, the answer to getting your vehicle well balanced through a corner is to approach it, get everything sorted, and then as you turn the wheel, press the gas. Now if you're in a car that's lower and tighter on its suspension, you can do it both at the same time. Turn the wheel and press the gas at the same time, simultaneously. If you drive a car that's got a slightly higher centre of gravity, that has softer responses, an SUV, something like that, then my advice is to press the gas maybe half a second before you even turn the wheel into the corner. That way you start that weight transfer rearwards and then roll the car into the corner. And trust me on this, this will transform how your car feels through a corner or through a bend. I've had so many people come to me struggling with the cornering, and I've introduced them to this principle of early gas in a corner, early application of gas in the corner, and it's transformed the way the car feels. Quite a few people have gone away feeling like they've got a new car. And that's because this driving technique makes your car more accurate. You wouldn't believe how much you can feel that additional grip on the rear axle through the steering wheel. And that's because, like I mentioned earlier, you're not just turning the car into the corner. If you get some weight on that rear axle, you are steering the car through the corner. You are making sure that that rear axle accurately follows where you put the front wheels, and you can feel it through the steering wheel. It's quite amazing how much better your car will feel when you do this. Now let's be clear, it doesn't matter whether your car is front engine front wheel drive, front engine rear wheel drive, mid engine rear wheel drive, front engine four wheel drive, rear engine rear wheel drive, I don't care. I don't care what you drive, this technique works in every car. For a hatchback like this, plenty of power at the front wheels, there's not a lot of weight over that back axle. So I'm settling the car through the corner with the press of the gas. And let's look at the timing of it now as well, because like I mentioned in the previous video about limit points, the limit point instructs you through the corner, and there are two phases to your acceleration through the corner. The first phase is to keep the speed where it is and maintain speed through the corner, and the second phase is to accelerate the car, to build speed up. So let's look at it on approach to this left-hander coming up here. As the limit point gets closer to us, we're going to slow down and we're going to get a gear. When the limit point becomes stationary, then I'm going to apply a little bit of gas to keep the car steady, and then when the limit point moves away, then I'm going to squeeze the gas. So two phases to the acceleration. When the limit point is stationary, it's a little squeeze to keep the speed where it is and stop the car from losing speed, and as the limit point moves away, I'm going to squeeze that accelerator harder and accelerate the car. Here, off the gas, little bit of brakes, third gear, little squeeze to maintain speed, and then as the limit point goes, I'll build up speed. And the car feels so secure going through the corner with that rear axle pressed into the ground. So here, little squeeze on the way in, and then as I take a little bit of offside here, I'm increasing the gas and the car feels planted through the corner. So that's how we balance the car. That's how we keep it stable through the corners. We don't do it with the front wheels. Don't put all your weight on the front axle going into a corner. It might feel like you're getting a sharper, more precise steering response, but you're not getting the same from the rear axle. Remember, you are steering all four wheels around the corner, not just turning the front wheels. Go and have a go. Go out on your favourite road. Don't need to be going too fast. This isn't about mega speed through the corners. But I want you to time the application of your acceleration in the corner so that it starts at the same time as you start turning the steering wheel. See how it feels. I guarantee the car will feel better through the corners. Whatever you drive, doesn't matter what you drive. And if you combine a systematic approach with that nice balanced throttle through a corner, smooth steering, And look where you want to go. A lot of people tell me that the car starts to feel like it's coring on rails. Even if it's not a particularly sporty car, you can get a much more accurate steering response out of the car. Go and have a go. Let me know what you think in the comments below. So that's it for this video. I hope you found it useful. You understand a little bit more about vehicle balance, car balance through the corners, weight transfer, tyre grip, all that kind of stuff. Don't forget to go and have a look at the website, reglocal.com. There's loads more information there about advanced and performance driving and riding. There's information about the books that I've written and about how you can get a day's driver or rider coaching with me. Drop me a line if you fancy a ride out. Come and learn this stuff in person. We'll sort something out. But for now, thanks very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.